Well, look up. No more running from the bad guy. I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up?
Hello, everyone, and I would like to thank you guys again for coming back on my show, Insights of a Survivor. So, I always start off with my trigger warning. This episode of Insights of a Survivor contains candid discussions of medical trauma, PTSD, cancer, near-death experiences, and the emotional toll of burnout and high-pressure careers. While these topics are shared with the intent to inspire, healing, and empowerment, they may be triggering for some listeners. Please, 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 my thing. My jam is always tell you, prioritize your mental health, your physical health, and your emotional well-being. At any point you feel overwhelmed, I please encourage you to pause, breathe, and return when you're ready, or not at all. It's completely up to you. Because healing is it happens on your timeline. You're not alone, and your safety matters. Okay, so just make sure you take care of you first. And again, welcome back to Insights of a Survivor, the space where pain meets purpose. And every story is built on rebellion against silence. You guys know I tongue-tied you guys. I'm always like that. But I am your host, PJ, a survivor, and a living statement to what happens when the fire doesn't consume you, but instead it forges you. This show isn't about trauma, not just trauma. It's about transformation. It's about what we do most with our lives. I created this platform because I know what it feels like to be shattered, silenced, scared, afraid, and still expected to smile. I've crawled through the trenches of abuse, betrayal, and loss, and I found my voice on the other side. I sit by my side, by my mic, and I'm holding this space in my hand, my life, just for you guys. Because healing isn't a destination. It is a decision that we make every single damn day, and we're going to keep making that decision. And today we are joined by someone who she embodies that very truth. She makes me nervous, you guys. She doesn't know that till right now. She makes me a little nervous because she's so badass. I'm so sorry. A woman who has faced her mortality, dismantled the boxes society tried to keep her in, and rebuilt herself from the inside out. Dr. Kalpana, I know I didn't say that right. Tell me, and I see you mouth it. Say it to me. Kalpana. Dr. Kalpana Sundar. See, she's you guys, she's smiling, laughing right now. She's the sweetest woman in the world. Dr. Kalpana. She had me on her show, and she was just so powerful. This woman was powerful, and she's not just a board-certified surgeon, you guys. She is a force, a survivor, a pioneer. And after battling thyroid cancer, navigating the intense pressures of a medical career that left her with PTSD, she made the radical decision to choose freedom over fear, alignment over burnout, and power over playing small. She turned her 7-figure med spa into a mission to show women that success isn't just about sacrificing your soul to scale. It's about rising boldly and unapologetically and doing it on your own terms. She is the creator of the GLOW method, a revolutionary framework rooted in growth, leverage, optimization, and worth amplification. Through her Aesthetic Profit Accelerator Bootcamp, her book Beauty Unbound, and her fearless show Gloves Off. This woman, I'm telling you, don't play with her. She is helping navigate and reclaim the narratives for women to rewrite their worth and stand tall in the industry and not to allow themselves to shrink. But her power doesn't just stop there in the boardroom. She races cars. She is a black belt in Krav Maga. Did I say that right? She's mastered Muay Thai and boxing. That's what I'm saying. This woman is no joke. She is not just fighting for change. She is trained for it. And now she's here with me, ready to speak her truth, challenge systems, and pour into survivors like you and me. So buckle up. This conversation is about to get raw. It's about to get real and radically empowering. So I'm going to pull you in right now. Hello.
Oh my God. That was the best introduction. I loved it.
Oh, thank you so much for being on my show. And I'm not lying. When I first met you, I'm like, oh my goodness, this woman is a powerhouse. You are so big, but it's not like an intimidating to make me feel small, big. It's like That's who I aspire to be. Like, you need to step your game up. So it's like, I'm going to climb that mountain. It was more of an inspirational intimidation, if that makes sense, but I love it. And I'm so thankful to have you on my show today. So much life that you have to speak into us. So, um, your journey as a surgeon and a med spa owner is already powerful, but surviving thyroid cancer added another layer. So can I ask, what did that experience awaken in you, and how did you use that to reshape your definition of survival?
Well, the interesting thing was when it first happened, it didn't really hit what happened because I had just gotten out of my residency. I was starting my practice. I had two young children and I was just doing my thing. So it was just kind of like a thing I had to take care of. Kind of like you take your dry cleaning to the, to the dry cleaner. That's how I treated my cancer. I was like, okay, so I got cancer and I got to get it out and I have to surgery and I have to have radioactive iodine. And then I'm just going to go back to work and do all the things and act like it never happened. And that's really how I addressed it. And so 10 years later was when it started resurfacing. And I would just wake up in the middle of the night. I felt like somebody had their hands on my throat, and I'd wake up just out of nowhere. And that's how I felt. And I didn't even know what that was. I was like, what the heck is wrong with me? I was fine. And then I wasn't fine. So then I started to see a therapist, and then I started to uncover that this was a trauma response that I had buried 10 years ago. So that's when the changes started to happen upon the realization of I had buried something really important.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's what trauma does. It makes you kind of take that incident and just kind of bury it and say it's not that big of a deal. I'm just going to keep living life like it's nothing, and it's really not nothing. It's just something that you have to kind of, I call it putting the mask on. You put your mask on so that you can function through everyday life. But then when that trauma hits, it hits hard. So you've spoken openly about experiencing PTSD from your medical career. Can you kind of take us into what that looked like and how did you begin healing from trauma? Was it both emotional and like professional? And how did you dangle all of that along with dealing with your cancer? You're like, this is a lot of stuff just coming, pouncing, pouncing, pouncing. And were you a single mom or you were just a mother of young children?
Oh yeah, I was married at the time. I
Okay.
was married pretty much the whole time that I was dealing with
Okay.
all of this. But yeah, that's a pretty loaded question. So first, I didn't know that I had PTSD. First of all, because we didn't, back then, this was 25 years ago or 20 years ago. I thought PTSD was just people who went to war. So I didn't think that it was a thing that physicians would face or surgeons or people in the medical field. I was like, I don't know, whatever. So I only figured that out much, much later. But I just knew that I was feeling exhausted all the time. I felt an immense amount of pressure to do all the things and be everything to everyone and be the best at everything. I never gave myself any slack. I just was constantly on myself. If I didn't do something perfect, I was just ripping myself apart inside my own head. So eventually, after, I started going to therapy, and that's when I started to unravel all of these things and how they all tied in together. And that's when I started to understand that I have to have more self-compassion. I started to understand what self-care was.
Okay. You froze on me there. Can you hear me?
I can now. Yeah. I wonder what
Okay,
happened.
good, good, good. You just froze on me last minute. So basically I can't hear you now. Can you say something?
Can you hear me?
Okay, perfect, perfect.
Okay.
So basically you were like just running, go, 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 trying to be, worrying about the success and the home and everything. And that's what a lot of us do. So many people, we chase success without realizing what the toll that we're taking on ourselves. So what exactly was your breaking point, the moment you realized that the version of success that you had built was no longer sustainable or aligned with who you were becoming?
Yeah, that happened probably about 10 or 15 years into my practice where I was super successful. And then I realized that, well, I don't know if this is really what success really means to me because, Yeah, it was, obviously things looked great from the outside, but I was miserable and exhausted, and stressed. Honestly, I look back at pictures of me 15 years ago and I look younger now. It's crazy. So, can you hear me okay? I didn't
Yes.
know
Yeah,
if
no,
I
I
broke.
hear you good. No, I
Okay.
hear you good.
But anyway, so that's when I started to realize that this was really taking a toll on me and I was miserable and I just wanted to die. I didn't understand why. When I woke up in the morning, I wished I didn't wake up and I was like, this can't be good. I mean, I don't think you're supposed to wish you're dead when you wake up, right? So that's when I realized that, okay, something's really, really wrong. And I really wondered what it was. Part of it was my marriage. Part of it was that, I think I had just not, it wasn't exactly what I wanted. And, it wasn't because he was a bad person. It just wasn't a good fit. What I wanted out of life and what he wanted out of life were just very different things. We'd been together since we were really young. So one thing was that wasn't working for me. The second thing was I kind of really wanted to not be a doctor anymore, meaning I didn't want to see patients anymore. I just was, I don't know, listening to people complain all the time just got hard. So I didn't want to do that. And then I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew that whatever I was doing wasn't right. So that's how it started.
I get that. No, I get that. It's like, okay, what I'm doing, I don't even really want to do. So then you develop the glow method to help aesthetic professionals kind of learn how to rise without burnout. How did you get to, I hate my job, to I'm glowing?
Yeah, so that part took a while. I don't want to make it sound like it was just really easy peasy. It
Oh,
really took,
yes.
yeah, I would say that, again, the timeline is this has happened over 25 years, all of this, so probably this has, in the last 5 years, I walked out of my practice, COVID happened. I was like, you know what? I could probably resuscitate this damn thing after COVID hit, but I don't want to. So then I was like, maybe this is the sign from the universe that I should just figure something else out. So I was like, all right. So I just decided that this was my opportunity and I decided to leave medicine. At that point, I was building another med spa because I thought that was going to make me happier because it wasn't like insurance patients and all the surgeries and all the middle of the night phone calls and ER call. I thought that was really what I wanted to do. But weirdly, even when that happened, I wasn't really interested in seeing patients anymore. And let me tell you, when you're a doctor and you don't want to see patients, you have like an identity crisis because you don't know what you're going to do because that's what you're supposed to do.
Oh no, yeah, I can only imagine that. I mean, I guess I was a caseworker, so I guess it's kind of the same. It's not as badass as a doctor. I'm just like a surgeon. But I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same. You're helping an individual go through something. Yeah. So
well, our identities do get wrapped up in what we do, no matter what it
yes,
is. And I
yes,
think if we shift that, there is a bit of an identity crisis that goes into it. And then if you're a physician, it's not that something's better than the other. It's just that we spend a lot of time to train for our career. So now
yes,
you've got all these well-meaning people out there going, oh, but you trained for so long and oh my God, it's such a great profession. I'm like, that's because you're not living in it. I mean, it's not
exactly,
terrible. It just wasn't for me. So
exactly.
that's kind of how all of that transpired. And then I realized that I love working with medical professionals. I like being around them. And then all of a sudden, one day I discovered how much I really knew that could help other people in their med spas. And, because I'd run the business and I was very good at it. And I was actually very good at the business aspect of it. Most physicians, nurses are not. And I was really good at that stuff. I'm also good at finding out nuanced things that help people too. And connecting dots in weird ways. I don't know how else better to say that. But I realized that all of these providers were having the same kind of problems. And that's when I was like, they have trouble with their growth. They don't know how to execute the growth and the scaling like they should. They don't know how to leverage their time. They don't know how to optimize their resources. And many of them feel unworthy of making a lot of money and having a lot of time on their hands.
Got it. Okay, so then basically you just kind of took your life back and dove into something that you felt would resonate with yourself. And can you tell me a little bit more about the med spa portion of it? Like, how did you use that to help with medical professionals? Because you said that you were still working with medical professionals in the med spa.
Yes, I was. I was actually a medical director for a while for a couple of medical spas. And that's when I realized that how all of these people were having the same problem. See, when you're just working for yourself and you only see your business, you don't know what kind of problems to see that they're all having the same issues. I was like, big revelation for me. And that's when I said, you know what? I could actually consult on this and it'll be really beneficial to the people I'm helping because they get to benefit from my 25 years of experience in the field and benefit from everything that I learned that I didn't do right. You know, and obviously the things I did do right, but we learn more from our mistakes sometimes than the things we do right.
Right, exactly.
So I was like, wow, I could really help people because they're all making the same mistakes that I was making. And I was like, but there's a way not to make these mistakes. So that's when I realized that this could really help them. And it really helped me too, because it put me in a position of where I enjoyed what I was doing again, which was huge. And I didn't have to take call. Didn't have to work those like ridiculous hours that I was working as a surgeon, so I could have like a normal life.
Beautiful. So then let's talk about reclaiming your power. This is the part that, like I said, you practice Krav Maga. Please tell me how to say that. Maga. I'm like, I knew I was saying that wrong. Muay Thai, now I know that one. And boxing. Yeah. So how does stepping into these combat sports help you reconnect? Like, how did that help you reclaim your power and your strength, both physically and emotionally, after you've made these beautiful life changes and you decided what was best for you, and then you dove into these sports? And honestly, you did it a little later in life. You didn't start when you were 5 or 6, and how did that help you reconnect with your strength?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so basically, I started all of this, actually it was before I left medicine that I started all this. It was actually around the time of my divorce. And I was feeling a lot of rage and anger and stress. And, sometimes, you can meditate, but sometimes meditation doesn't work. You gotta sometimes I gotta get the energy out, then I can meditate. I love meditating. I'm not saying it's bad, but for me, I just knew that I had to get the energy out and really get it out there. And I didn't know how. And one day I drove by this place and it said $19.99 for a week's worth of classes plus free gloves. And I was like, I kind of want to punch things every day and I probably shouldn't punch other people. So this seems like a good idea. So I went and I did the kickboxing class. I was like $19 for a week and free gloves. Like, it's a no-brainer, right? So I did it and I was like, I loved it. I felt so calm afterwards. And then one day, like after that week was over, no, actually, I continued to go there for a while. And then one day I was just doing the kickboxing classes and I saw this thing, Krav Maga. I didn't know what it was. And I said, what is that? And they said, well, it's Israeli military combat. I was like, well, that sounds pretty badass. I'm like, I don't know what that even is, and they said, why don't you just go to a class and check it out? I went into the class and I was like, this is awesome. People throwing each other down. I'm like, this is great. I want to learn how to do this. And I said, can I do this? And they're like, yeah, it's really, all kinds of sizes and people. So we're in classes with all these different people, different sizes, different ages. And it was really great. So I started then doing Krav Maga. I started at belt at 54.
Oh.
And then after Krav Maga, after I got the black belt in Krav Maga, I was like, well, I could probably go for a second degree, and I may do that at some point. I'll probably go back and do it. But I wound up finding a gym that had Muay Thai and boxing and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I liked the fact that I could just try different things. So I really started liking Muay Thai a lot. So I did Muay Thai, I did boxing classes and all that. I didn't go for the belts in those. I was just taking classes and taking private lessons. But You know what I love about, I actually just love MMA. That's what I want
Oh
to
my
do.
goodness.
I
You
just
know,
love
I
it.
feel bad for anybody that tries to creep up on her and steal her purse. I'm telling you right now, don't do it. She might not want to hurt anyone, but she will if you try to just purse snatcher. You guys don't run up on this woman. Oh my God, that
Like,
is so badass.
I don't do it to hurt people. It's just like, I just love it.
It's
It's
just an
so,
exhilarating way to kind of just, that's what I'm like, oh, it's
I love
beautiful.
it. I absolutely, and you know what I love? I love the people in martial arts. There's
Mhm.
something very disciplined about everybody who does martial arts. They're extremely disciplined human beings. They're actually like the nicest, most docile people you ever meet,
Oh,
unlike what you might think. Because they don't
oh,
want to hurt anybody. They're not looking to get
exactly.
into a fight. They're going to protect themselves if they do, but it's not what we're
Exactly.
looking for. So I just felt like it introduced me to a community of really great people. People who are very like-minded, disciplined. My physical fitness went through the roof. I mean, it was
I bet.
awesome. So
I
I don't know.
bet.
I just absolutely love it. I don't think I'm ever going to stop, to be honest with you.
Oh my goodness. So you've gone from the operating room to the boardrooms to racing cars and combat sports. Like, where does this fire come from? How do you keep this fire alive? Where does that resilience come from?
I don't even know. I think I've just always been like this. And honestly, I thought everybody was like this, but now I'm understanding that they're not. You don't know you're different. You just know that you're you and you think everybody's kind of the same. I don't know, but I
Yeah.
think so, it's not that I'm special. It's just that everybody has their thing that
Mhm.
they're really, really good at. And, the more people I meet in this world, I just see that people are so good at so many things and they
Mhm.
are just, I feel like people don't give themselves enough credit for the things they're good at. Mostly women don't. We feel like we have to be, mute it down and, make it like not so great. No, if we're great at something, just say you're great at it. It's not
Right.
conceited. It's just the truth.
Exactly. Oh my goodness, I love that. So for women who do feel trapped in the system, whether it's medical, medicine, family, or just internalizing their fear, what's one step they could take to start reclaiming their voice and redefining their lives?
Well, I would say that if you fear something, well, that's the thing you got to do. To me, the fear is a signal of now that's what you got to do. I mean, unless it's something crazy. So I like that's not going to crash. I'm just saying like things that are maybe like you're just afraid of quitting your job and finding a new job, or you're afraid of moving forward in something. I'm talking about those things. I mean, no, I'm not talking about
Mhm.
doing crazy things, and for me, I felt fear has always been my signal that that might be what I have to.
Oh, you froze again. It's okay. There we go. You're back. Did you come back up? There we go. There we go. Ah, you're right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Sorry.
so, it's what I was saying is that I think that fear sometimes can be a little director of maybe what we should do next. I mean, not all the time, but I think when we sense that fear, we have to evaluate it and decide, is that fear really just a don't do it? Or maybe it's just something we're a little afraid of, but maybe that is the thing we have to do.
Right. So that kind of jumps into what you've said in your own content is like every challenge is an opportunity to grow. What
Mhm.
has helped you hold on to that belief during the hardest parts of your journey? Because you've even yourself admitted like it's not easy. So when it would have been easier just to go back to being a surgeon or just give up, how did you keep moving forward during those hardest parts? Because again, you said you've been 25 years in this, so I know it didn't just you didn't snap your finger and wake up the next day and you were right here with glow. So help me out with that one.
Yeah, I would say I have had a lot of meltdowns and a lot of breakdowns, and I'm getting used to the breakdowns. I mean, I had another one just a couple of days ago, and it's just like not like a temper tantrum, but there are days where I'm like, what did I do? I mean, why did I do this? And it's like that fear. Some days it overwhelms me because I know I'm doing the things that I should be doing, but then I get afraid of something and I kind of have a meltdown. And I've learned to ride the wave, ride that wave, of the fear. Just hold on to it, embrace it. Just like, okay, fear, how are you? Oh, you're here again, and I'm freaking out and whatever. And then I just do whatever I have to do to get past that. One thing I've noticed is that those meltdowns used to last a lot longer. Now I can kind of regroup in a day. When those things hit me, it always hits me before something big is about to break open, though. I feel like it's always the case, right?
Yes,
Like
yes.
just when you think, you're fine, then you have some sort of meltdown, breakdown, whatever you want to call it. And then after the breakdown comes the breakthrough.
Yes.
So now I'm just getting used to it. Now I have a breakdown, and then I'm like, okay, well, I guess the breakthrough is coming. And then it's like I would say that in spiritual, I feel like it's a spiritual awakening for me. I know that's what I'm going through. And they say, because I've done a lot of research on this as to why this happens, that you kind of have almost a contraction before you have an expansion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've learned. I've done all kinds of research about this. Like, why does this happen? Because I've noticed that my capacity to hold more increases with every breakdown. So every time that process happens, I kind of feel like I have a new version of myself that comes out, and I can handle more. So that goes back to the resilience. This is a very long answer to your resilience question.
No, but that's beautiful.
So basically, I think it just came to me. So every time I have a breakdown, I have a breakthrough. And every time you have a breakthrough, I believe that you have more resilience that's forged because of that. Because now you can handle all the stuff that you handled before, and they're capable of handling more.
Beautiful. Do you guys hear that? Oh my goodness. That is something that I've been asked for years. And it's like, how do you just answered the question for me. So if anyone wants to know how I got through all of the things I got through, you need to tune into this episode and listen to this answer, because that is the answer to that. And honestly, that was my friend, ride the wave. That's my saying. I love that. I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to just ride the wave. What are you doing? I'm just going to ride my wave. So that was confirmation. I love it. So your book, and Beauty Unbound, it speaks volumes just within the title. But what does being unbound mean to you now? And how do you hope that help it liberate other women in their story?
Well, thank you for asking that. So Beauty Unbound is really the story of my life's journey to becoming unbound. And it's a little bit of a double entendre, because beauty is, obviously, I was in the aesthetics industry, so that's beauty. But also, it's about how my life became beautiful once I became unbound. Unbound from expectations from society, from my family, from, other people, all of the stereotypes, stigmas, whatever. I just really worked on just freeing myself from every one of those things that didn't serve me at all. And that's really what this being unbound means. And also, I just launched something kind of cool. It's called the Unbound Collective. And it's a gathering of visionary women who come together and really speak about bold truths. And we've had 2 meetings so far, and it has been so wonderful, because every time, the 2 times we've had women really share things, I was a little surprised that they shared so quickly, so easily, and so truthfully. And that's what I started it for, but I didn't know that people would really, I didn't know they would lean into it that much. I didn't know, and they did.
I love that. I love that, a community of individuals there to help support each other through that. And I would like to be a part of that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to invite myself to your group.
Yeah, no, you know what I want to do? Here's what came to me. So I've actually been invited. So anyway, I had the 2 meetings, and they were obviously in San Diego because that's where I live. But I actually was invited to Orange County by 2 people to have it there in Orange County, California. So already it's becoming a little further away, which is, it's only an hour or two from where I live. Not a big deal. But then, now somebody else in the Sacramento area said she wanted me to come there and do one. So I'm like, I don't know. I could see this.
That's a bit farther up north, though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I could see this having, honestly, I could see it having chapters, of different, I don't know, who knows what'll happen, but
well, if you want to do one down here in Costa Rica, Pura Vida, I got you down here too. The invitation is open.
I know, because then I could travel and do it in all kinds of places. Who knows? I mean, we'll see what happens, but I really feel that there's something there and women are loving it. And I lead it in a way that we're really open. So our topic of conversation yesterday, it was on Wednesday actually, was deserving and receiving. Because women have a hard time with receiving. We feel like we have to deserve everything. And, so we had a great discussion about that. And, these are all educated women who have come together and conversations. It was,
oh my God, I love this. Okay, so if someone is listening and they are in the thick of the burnout, traumatized, they're unsure of how to move forward, what's the most honest piece of advice that you would have for them right now? And how would someone connect with you to learn how they can grow from your experience?
So basically, probably my website's the easiest way to find me, and it's Dr. Kal. It's doctor without any spaces or periods, just Dr. and KalpanaSundar.com. So just the name that's down on there, you could see it on the bottom of the screen there, which is easy. But as far as what do people do, honestly, the first thing is if you're in the middle of burnout, first, you got to make sure that you're emotionally safe enough to make the next decision. Because some people are in burnout and they're really, not in the right space. Maybe they're wanting to hurt themselves or something. So first, make sure that you're going to stay safe. Then the second thing is to give yourself I feel you have to give yourself a break. Just be. Just don't push yourself to figure out the next steps. Just be. Just give yourself a break. And then I would say self-care. And, you don't have to make any big decisions right away. Just take care of you. Start slowly but surely putting yourself first. And then I think the rest comes after that.
I think those first two are the hardest steps to take for most of us, because we're like, but that's beautiful. I want to thank you so much for coming onto my show again. You guys have noticed she's like, I don't know if you know that ever since the first day that we actually spoke, I'm like, she is someone who I need to have as a person in my circle, because you are where I want to be in the next 5 years. Your confidence, it's just the confidence. It seeps off of you. And I appreciate you coming and sharing your story with my audience. I know it's just like, I feel like a little starstruck, like a little kid who's just like, oh my God, there's Michael Jackson, because it's like, I like the community. I love a community of women who build up women. You don't really see a lot of that. And anyone who's in that, I'm a huge fan of all women who have been in the game, who've done the work, and you've done the work. And not only have you done the work, you kind of did what I did. You uprooted yourself and you completely started over. So your story specifically resonates with me, because you're giving me faith in the journey that I'm walking now, because I do agree. Those breakdowns open up opportunities, but I'm still in the breakdown phase. I had one earlier today, like, oh my God, but guess what? I still show up and I'm still here, and I'm going to show up tomorrow. Well, no, tomorrow's a weekend, but Monday, because I'm learning self-care now. And it's women like you that paved that road for me to feel comfortable in myself and feel comfortable in my setbacks, feel comfortable in knowing what's coming. And I thank you for being.
Well, listen, thank you for having me here. But listen, let's not make light of what you've gone through too. I mean, I'm sorry. When I heard your story on my show, I kind of felt how you feel when you're talking about me. I was like, I haven't gone through anything compared to what that woman's gone through at all. That's how I felt. Honestly, I was like, okay, yeah, I had some. I feel like your trauma was big T. I know that we're not here to compare traumas. I know that. But
No.
to be honest, like when I heard the things you've gone through, honestly, I was like, I mean, yes, I've been through some things. We all go through things, but
Yes,
you
ma'am.
know, don't sell yourself short. You've had a lot to overcome. The things you've gone through and the things that you've fought against are really, really difficult. And you know what? I just see you here smiling and, doing things that you love. I loved how you opened the show and said, warned people about that it could be triggering. I love that. I loved that approach that you take. I love that you're pouring real parts of you into what you do, creating this community for people who had pain and want purpose and how it can be transformed. So honestly, you and this all women do it. We just sell ourselves short a little bit. So I think you should also tell yourself that you're doing a fabulous job because you are.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. Oh,
Because
I
really, you've really done a lot of great things. And the
thank
thing
you.
about you is some people can wear their trauma, kind of as an armor and just be different. But I could just tell you wear your heart on your sleeve
Oh
and
yeah.
you're very open. Trauma can make us hardened. It can
Yes.
make us mean. It could make us a lot of things. Well, you know what? I think the way we chose to show up after trauma makes a big difference. And again, it doesn't matter what trauma you've been through. We've all had some trauma in our life. I'm sorry, all of
Yes.
us.
Yes.
The reality is we could show up closed off with our armor on, with our, I like to say with our gloves on, or we could show up with our gloves off and just be open, be receptive, be willing to share our stories, to hear stories from other people, and
Mhm.
really just share. That's what makes us, that's what just makes the world so much better.
Yes. Yes, and it wasn't easy. I did have that armor. That armor that you're talking about. It took some years. It took some therapy. It took some meditation. It
Oh,
took
yeah.
some. It took a lot. It took a lot of maybe not kickboxing, but I had my own journey. But it took a lot. I got into growing. I love gardening now. That's my thing. I like sticking my hand in the dirt, and it took a
Mhm.
lot of finding out who I was to let that down. So yes, that armor was definitely there. It was not always easy to smile, but
No.
I am so happy that you can recognize how hard it is in the journey and see that, I am wearing my heart on my sleeve now, which is not easy. It's not ever easy to put yourself in a vulnerable position, especially when you've gone through so much trauma, because it was my heart being on my sleeve that put me in that position in the first place. But this journey taught me the boundaries, saying no, which is boundaries, not feeling guilty about my decision. So I'm learning how to balance it all out. And it's every day, and it's hearing, like I said, women like you are survivors. It's not just women. I've spoken with men as well, and it's a journey. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of your community, and thank you for being a part of mine. Because again, that kind of encouragement is what I need to keep showing up every day. Because I do this every day. I have a challenge that I do every day, 365-day challenge. So I'm on live every day, telling parts of my story, and it's things like this where on my weekly podcast or just talking to someone, because like right now it's just we're having a conversation. The podcast is done now, we're just talking at this point, and it's these kind of conversations that help me see that yes, what I'm doing does matter. Yes, what you're doing does matter, because like I said, I watched a few of your shows and I just see the people that you have, and I'm just like, that's what I aspire to be like. That's what I want to do for my community, and it just gives me something to look forward to, because it's not something that I'm not going to envy you, because I'm going to be there. You're basically giving me a guide on where I'm going to be. And that's what I'm hoping that my story will do for someone else. Give them a guide on where they might want to be when they get to a certain part of their journey, and keep the process going and going and going. And that's what I love about this community. We're all about growing. So yes,
I agree.
it's beautiful.
I love it. I love it.
Oh my goodness. So Again, I just want to thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you so much for showing up for me tonight. I was super nervous. This is actually a lot more laid back than I mean, and I know I've spoken with you before, and I know that, but it was different. I'm like, okay, this is my podcast. I have to be on point. But it's like, no, just be yourself. She likes you for who you are. So thank
Exactly.
you for allowing me to see you again and remind me that, we're both two women, two humans here just making a difference in our community and doing what we love. So just thank you so much for coming on my show. Thank you so much for
You're
sharing your
so welcome.
story. And thank you so much for being an inspiration for trauma survivors, because though your trauma doesn't look like mine, it was still real. And I appreciate you sharing that real live experience with my community and anybody who needed to hear that part, because that part of your trauma I don't understand.
Yeah. So true. So true. Oh, well, it's been such a pleasure. And I really enjoyed being on your show. And I loved having you on my show as well.
Yay. Well, we have each other's WhatsApp. Let's not be strangers.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect. Well, you have a fabulous weekend and I hope you
You do
enjoy
the
yourself and get some
same.
downtime and lots of
Yes, ma'am.
self-care.
Yes, ma'am. See you next time.
Bye.
Okay, everyone. So, a life altering diagnosis of cancer, chronic illness, or even serious injury doesn't just attack the body, it can fracture your identity. It can shake your sense of safety and leave invisible emotional scars. Give yourself permission to grieve, rage, cry, or fall apart. You've seen that she said that she has her breakdowns. This trauma and your feelings are valid. Valid, sorry. You are not the illness. You are not broken. You are surviving. And that is power. Whether you are hooked up to machines, waiting on results, or rebuilding after treatment, you are doing something heroic. And that is what strength looks like. It doesn't look like fighting. It looks like staying, even when you want to give up. But before closing out, you guys know I always want to ensure that anyone who needs access to real support, if you know someone who's experiencing any type of trauma in their life right now, if you need help, you can call the crisis hotline. Anyone dealing with any type of depression, you could text the crisis hotline 24/7. This is in the United States. You text 741-741. Well, I'm sorry, you text home, HOME, to the number 741-741. That is the crisis hotline. Anyone struggling with cancer, there's a cancer support community. You can call 1-888-793-9355. Again, that's 1-888-793-9355. And then there's also a chronic illness hotline, the U.S. Peer Support Line. Text SPOONIE, 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 to 741-741. Okay? So, first, I would like to thank Dr. Sundar for everything, to every single woman who tuned in today to hear this wonderful story. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for sitting in your truth. Thank you for being here and supporting me. The trauma and the triumph that poured out into this conversation was beautiful. Today's episode wasn't just a story, it was a testimony to what it means to survive the unthinkable, to rebuild from ashes, to rise not just healed, but unbound. I mean, it was beautiful. And she just reminded us that even in the faces of a diagnosis, devastation, and deep internal battles, we are still allowed to love ourselves. And that's what Insights of a Survivor is all about. It's about unfiltered truth, raw healing, and the unbreakable power that comes from telling your story out loud. So if this episode moved you, if it stirred something in you, if it made you feel seen, or if it gave you a sliver of hope, I ask you to do one powerful thing. Share it. Share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Share it in your circle. Share it in silence if you can't find the words, because sometimes sharing the truth is the first step to setting someone else free. And while you're here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. When you engage with this podcast, you're not just helping me, you're helping every survivor who's waiting for proof that healing is possible. Your voice matters. Your feedback matters. And together, we're building something that can't be silenced. I also want to personally invite you to my journey beyond this episode, okay? Because I am currently walking through a 365 days of my truth. My story, my strength challenge, live, raw, authentic, every single day. I'm sharing a personal trauma story about my trauma, my healing tools, and the darkest nights and my loudest victories. All that to remind you that your story doesn't end in pain, that it does begin in power. So whether you're surviving, healing, or just holding on right now, there's something in this challenge for you and for anyone. Every day is another chance to reclaim your voice and remember who the hell you are, okay? To keep up with every journey that you've ever created. Follow me across all of my platforms if you want to keep up with everything that I'm creating. You can find all of my links, including access to my challenge, my podcast, my YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and more through my link tree. And that is in my YouTube bio. So it's all there for you. Just tap in, stay connected, and be a part of this movement, because this is more than content. This is a community. This is survival. This is power. And as always, I wanted to provide you with a quote from a powerful, powerful woman or a survivor who paved the way for us. This quote is from a Dr. Thelma Bryant, and she says, "Your womb may have birthed pain, but your spirit was made to deliver freedom." I love that. I love that. So everyone, stay strong, stay safe, and most of all, love yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in to Insights of a Survivor. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend, and I will see you tomorrow, not for my podcast, but for my 365-day My Story, My Strength challenge, so that we can see what's next for everyone, you guys. And my challenge, please show up, because again, I dive into things that's not even in my book that you can find on Amazon, Insights of A Place to Belong by Perry Jasper. But there are things in this challenge that you won't even find in that book. So just tune in, okay? Have a nice weekend.
Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. No more running from the bad guy. I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up? I know the journey got hard for a minute, but I ain't giving this up. Yeah, I got the heart of a champion. If I get knocked down, I get